Welcome back. My name is Gualter and we're on with the 100 Millionaires Podcast. I'm hanging out with my amazing co-host, Mike Schein. Mike, why don't you bring us in?
Yeah, Mike Schein, hoping you get massive income from passive income. I am the holistic attorney.
I love the nice little addition. So Mike does all of our closings. He is the holistic attorney. And the reason we do this podcast together is because we love the idea of a more abundant world. We love the idea of building wealth. We love the idea of you becoming a millionaire, moving yourself to the next level. In fact, Mike and I spend so much time talking about how do we help other people get richer that this podcast just became a way of us having those conversations and still being able to kind of give a little bit, because he and I could just talk all day and never go out and reach out to anybody. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
So Mike,
I'm
what have you been
trying to
working
find
on
this on Facebook. Give me 1 second because
You're finding on Facebook so we can read the comments. Awesome.
yeah, exactly. So I can read the comments.
So I wanted to brag to you a little bit. I just got off the phone with Damian Lupo. So podcast episode, whatever it's going to be, it's probably like 75
Nice.
for the Alchemist Nation podcast. And Damian he's such a smart guy. Like he hangs out with guys like Robert Kiyosaki. He hangs out with Peter Schiff, and like these really smart financial guys. But he also watches Tony Robbins, right? He goes to Tony Robbins events and his mindset is right.
Excuse me, is he a local guy or where's he from?
He is from, I want to say, not around here. He actually grew up in Alaska and then spent time in Africa. And he looks like he doesn't have either one of those in his background right now. So he's somewhere in the country. But his joke was, like, you got to go out and before you're 30 years old, go and mess things up, go make mistakes, fail, because he's like, look, I grew up in Alaska and Africa. Something could eat me out there if I did something wrong. But you're in America, like nothing's going to kill you or eat you if you make a mistake. Like just go out and build a business. Like what? People make fun of you. Like that will not ever take your life. Right. Just go and take the risk. You're an attorney, Mike. That's not an easy job to get into. There's a lot of schooling, there's a lot of competition, there's a lot of, belief systems. And then there's niches that, for you just weren't right for you. You found closings, you found real estate where most of the time, everybody feels like they're winning at a closing. Somebody's making money at a closing. So at least one person's winning.
It's funny you say that because there's something out there on like YouTube of Elon Musk saying the same thing. He's like, well, what's going to happen? I'm going to starve? Which I thought was such a great comment. It was just, you take chances, you always find something to eat or something, so why not take the big chances like going to Mars or whatever?
Whatever, just going to Mars. Mike.
Well, he was talking to the Mars Society that I didn't even know existed. He did an interview with them last week. And it was just really interesting because it made it real. Yeah. Like he was talking about the tonnage of rockets to get up there. And he says the people who aren't using reusable rockets are basically idiots. It's just, It doesn't make sense. But, he just thinks big. So it makes you, when you're trying to buy a 3-family in Fall River, you're not really playing big compared to him. Not that that's bad, but I'm just saying.
15 units, right, Mike?
Yeah. He wants a 3-family on Mars.
Right.
Like all the same.
Location.
Yeah.
When you talk about Mars and Elon Musk and all those aspects, you really got to look at your life and say, man, like I have not done anything today. Like in the terms of productivity, in his concept of reusing rockets, it's because he's looking at using them often. He's like, look, like why don't we set a rocket up every day? Right? You can't go and build a rocket every day. Like you've got.
Yeah, he was talking about the actual tonnage to get the city Mars set up, and that if you didn't use reusable rockets, it would be cost prohibitive to bring all that stuff up there. So crazy.
And that's the problem that most people are not looking at, is that when they look at Mars, they're like, oh, we'll just go visit. Right? This is not a just go visit. This is like if something happens, we want to be able to handle it. Like, we want multiple rockets in play, constantly going back and forth.
And that was the other thing he was talking about that kind of freaked me out. He's like, if there was World War III, or if there was some event, kind of like a virus, we had to get out of here quickly.
Let's
Theoretically.
just theoretically.
Yeah. I was just dealing with getting lender financing, and it's a moving target. It's like you think you've got the terms you've got, and then you get the term sheet, and it's not.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, wait a sec, this isn't what we talked about. So
It's
a little frustrated.
It's frustrating. We're in the process. I think we're probably using the same lender, and he's been phenomenal. Now we're shifting over to the underwriters in the back end of this loan for the refinance.
Yeah.
And before we even got to that point, he's like, "Well, we're gonna need 34,000 up front to get this going." And I looked over at Ron, and I was like, "I guess if you're doing a $2.4 million loan." Well, it's a $3 million loan, but it's 2.4 is what we're actually borrowing. Our down payment is 600,000.
Yep.
Of equity, thank God. And I didn't have to come up with that again. Thank you,
sir. Your microphone's not as loud as it usually is. I don't know if it's turned down or something.
Is it me or is it you?
I have it turned up all the way to 100.
So how about now? Do I sound awesome?
Yeah.
Awesomer.
Seems a little quiet though.
Awesomer.
I usually have you at like 50 and I can hear you, but not today.
You know what? I had the microphone. I was talking like this, and the microphone's actually over here. I can just put it right here.
Gotcha.
And you should be able to hear me perfectly now. No?
I'll turn it up.
I wonder if it's me. I'll check. I'll find out. We'll get down to the bottom of this.
Nice.
So when it comes to Elon Musk and his mission and what he's doing and looking to accomplish, I think that people forget that what we're doing here is so important. He's not just getting us, diversity of the human race, which, by the way, we should all be focused on that. But he's also
comment. Vam AJ Lisk said better. So
better. All right. So maybe I was too quiet.
Roxanne.
I mean, I can mess around with it a little bit more.
I need one of those holders like you have to bring it in. I've just got the little tripod.
I mean, I'm maxed out on it. So yeah, maybe I'll just keep it right here.
Sweet.
Nice. So thanks, Mike. Thanks for the heads up on that one.
Yeah.
And back on YouTube, Facebook. Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.
So Elon Musk's mission is powerful, but it's not just about diversifying the human race, like getting us off this planet because, something dumb might happen. Yes, true. But also it's going to create a ton of jobs. Like it's the Wild West. You look on TV, like I watch all sorts of educational, entertaining TV, and I study it, right? I study audiobooks, I study video, and one of the things I'm watching now is Gold Rush, and it's fascinating because they go back to the original pioneers and they talk about the old timers, right?
Yeah.
And these guys would come in, they just would find nuggets and they pick it up. That was gold mining.
Yeah.
And then it was smaller and smaller and smaller as technology got more improved. And so you can go back and remine things that previously were mined because now the technology is better. And now that it's been wiped out, mining is pretty much, for the most part, no longer our main export. It's other things. We've expanded to do other things.
Didn't the people like Levi Strauss make all the money?
Of course. The guys who ran the shovels.
Selling jeans to the miners.
The guys who sold the shovels and the boots,
Because I went to
the jeans.
I've been to California, I've been to San Francisco. Obviously, the 49ers is because of the gold rush of 1849. And you don't really think about it, but when you go to San Francisco, you see Levi Strauss everywhere. I think the football stadium is Levi's, but those are the.
If you go to Sacramento, California, go to Old Sac, right? Old Sacramento.
Yeah.
It's literally like a town based in, like, they got the porches, they got the dust roads. Well, they got paved roads now, but you can still kind of visualize what it was like.
I think we went there and there was this amazing train museum there.
Yes.
It was awesome. And they had set up like the Old West train with like mannequins in the seats, and it was cool. I recommend it if you're ever out there. It's cool.
Go check it out. You should travel. I mean, you should travel to understand how the world was created, how this country was formed.
Right.
But the reason I bring it up is because, and yes, by the way, gold, great commodity, great, maybe not a currency anymore, but definitely interesting investment, not a great investment for all of your money, maybe 5%. But gold, think about it. It's what drove America to come to America. Like Spain was like, you know what? We want more gold. And so,
Yeah.
bam, let's go build ships and travel the biggest distance we ever traveled. Well, we're doing the same thing. Now we're like, hey, let's go find lithium, or let's go find more, maybe gold, right? Who knows what we'll find out there in these mountains.
And you can also, for like battery production, supposedly you can get it in outer space.
Of course.
So like if you're in outer space and you find some meteor that's like heavy amounts of lithium, for example, how crazy would that be?
Right. And you look at Mars as primarily iron, right? There's a lot of iron out there.
I didn't know that. I guess that makes sense. It's the red planet.
The red planet.
There you go. Okay.
Let me clarify. I'm guessing. But there's something it's made out of.
It's not made of cheese.
It's made out of something, and whatever it is probably something that can be sold. It's probably a very common material as well, but hopefully it's iron. I assume it is.
Yeah.
And I know the moon was nickel, and so the moon is mineable, except we were like, nobody can do anything there.
What'd be cool? What'd be cool is they do all this production to get to Mars, and then for like regular people to go to a trip to the moon will be like going to Bermuda.
Right.
Like that'd be really neat if we could. Let's go we're taking 2 weeks and we're going to the moon.
Like, I want to teach our next alchemist 3-day training on moon. Like, I'm ready to go do it. I think this is a good opportunity.
Right. And you get 2 free tickets if you pay for the flight to the moon.
Look, you pay for the flight to the moon, we'll train you for free. We'll call it that.
That's so awesome.
So like there's definitely, I think it's 10x, right? By 10x and saying, hey, let's go to Mars, the moon is suddenly totally possible. It's
that's
totally
what I mean.
reasonable.
Yeah. That's so cool.
But that's the part that bothers me is, why are we not commercially on the moon right now? Like, why are we not physically doing this and utilizing this resource, creating jobs by going there? There's just not enough people in space. There's just not enough people in this
I
race.
do think that the reusable rockets makes a big difference. It's millions and millions of dollars every time we lose them. So if they can, like SpaceX has now, they can come back to Earth and pick up another payload, then it makes sense to go to the moon and just, put up a Hilton hotel with a,
whatever it's called. It's going to be the Amarillo Hotel.
Amarillo with a swimming pool. Does it have an indoor swimming pool and a gym?
It does, and everybody gets a plaque when they sign up. When they come in, they get a plaque.
What about do they get a free breakfast?
Mike, nothing is for free. If something is free, you are the product.
Yeah, right.
There will be a free breakfast. I'll also be selling coaching.
Yes, that's awesome. Coaching on the moon. Why not?
So Lake Resource is doing okay. I'm making a little bit of a return there. I've made a commitment to buy into more Tesla. So I have not repurchased my Tesla yet, but I'm hoping Tesla goes down just a little bit so I can buy it.
Earnings are today, and a lot of players are doing, buy on the rumor, sell on the news. So I expect it to pull back tomorrow, even if they have good numbers. But if it doesn't, then you missed out. But whatever. Yeah.
No, I like the company. Honestly, I just like the company. I like the mission. I was watching American, the men who built America. This was Doug McGurk's suggestion, and I was watching it this past week. And man, past week, it's been 3 days. But I've been binge watching.
Which one did you watch?
I watched them all.
That's what people do if they don't go to sleep at night like you.
I've seen awesome. 5 o'clock in the morning way too many times this week. So
it's awesome.
But what I'm learning is Tesla designed AC power. Edison pioneered DC power. The irony is the whole world is using AC power right now, and we're shifting back over to DC.
That's
our
cool.
cars are DC, our phones are DC, our computers are DC, everything is DC. But now we got the problem of converting from AC to DC.
Yeah.
We're like,
that's awesome.
We're creating it this way, but we actually need it this way now.
Which one was that in? Was that in the...
This was, I believe, the last one. This was the last one.
Gotcha.
I think
Cars that built
or 8.
the world, or whatever the hell he said. I wrote it down, but I don't remember.
It was Men Who Built America.
Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Men Who Built America. And so I've been doing this research on,
the
History Channel. Yep. I got it on Amazon.
Nice.
So if you could create a product that would really serve the world, you could become a billionaire. That's basically the premise of what this is. If you could serve the entire world, you can become a billionaire. If you're just serving your little community, millionaire,
Billionaire.
right? Millionaire for sure. Like that's pretty easy to get to.
Mhm.
But if you want billionaire status, you've got to be global. And they were national, right? And you could be national and you could serve and become a billionaire serving nationally. Now, what I'm looking at is the future. What the conversation I just had with Damian Lupo, you got to check out that episode. Damian Lupo was talking about the future, which is a jobless America. There's no reason to have jobs. Like jobs are eliminated by Elon Musk, right? Robots, systems, programs. And like you and I are smiling because we're like, fuck, like this is amazing. But anybody else listening to this is like, oh my God, what do I do? Right? What do I do for income?
Yeah, well,
they haven't. Go ahead.
I don't know. Whenever they talk about somebody becoming obsolete, some new industry comes up or some new. It always happens. They were like panicking about the factory workers of the United States, and all those people are now, in tech, or there's always something. If you choose to be a victim, that's a different story. But if you're willing to learn and change, there's going to be some industry for you.
That's exactly what he was saying. He was talking about Tony Robbins. Because I asked him, what's the best investment? He was like, honestly, you. The best investment is in you. Go get a mentor, go get a coach, go read a book, go take a class. Like it's in personal development.
You're on the right track.
And that's what we've been doing for the past few years, right? You and I have been reading the books, studying, building this training program. This is our way to give back.
Yeah, it's
awesome. But what he said was so powerful. He's like, look, it doesn't matter what investment you make right now, it could go bad. But an investment in you knows how to pivot. An investment in you knows how to make it better, shift out of it and move into a better direction. And that's really what you belong focusing on.
And I think that what I said is, I'll reiterate it, that if you're a victim, you're not going to be willing to change. And if you're not willing to change, you're going to get run over by an electric vehicle.
Self-driving electric
Self-driving.
Self-driving electric vehicle, and that he mentioned it. There's 44 million or 4.4 million truck drivers right now. That's a big job, and it's a high-paying job. You're talking close to $100,000 a year. That's going to get wiped out.
It is.
And
if you look at the numbers on the Tesla Semi, when Nikola, which is a total fraud and a scam, in my opinion,
I agree.
They compared it.
Brand.
Yep. They compared it to what the Semi would cost per vehicle, and with the electric, because Nikola had something that they give you free hydrogen with your lease or whatever. But there's no way that these fleets can choose to not go electric, autonomous trucks. Like it just
in a few years, you already save money on the person. Just in a few years.
Magnitude of difference. Yeah. So they're gonna have to go somewhere else. Yeah. And when it comes to like just the small cars, it's just crazy to think of all the things that you need for a human being that you don't need. Like you don't need a steering wheel. You don't need rear view mirrors. You don't need the mirror inside, the rear view in the side of the car, side mirrors. You don't need the brake pedal. You don't need that. I mean, those all make the price of an autonomous vehicle lower and lower. And they're talking about in the next 2 to 3 years, Tesla's talking about creating a $25,000 vehicle for the mass market. So if they can make a $25,000 vehicle that has steering wheels and brakes and all that stuff, cup holders, can you imagine how low they can get on a robo-taxi that has no person driving it? It's just
even the design doesn't have to be the same anymore. The design can be different because you no longer have to look forward. You can be sitting in a cabin, essentially, a room where you can look at each other and have a good time.
That's cool. Yeah, sideways,
right.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be like, okay, like I guess I see the back of your seat. Like it can be, hey, we're all hanging out, having a good time, like a limo. The cars will be designed differently.
You don't even need windows. Just get in and go.
And look at a limousine. Like they don't even put seatbelts in there. Like that's come on. I'm not driving that fast, right?
I was watching this guy. I think I sent you that. Yeah, I did. It was that report about 10 years from now, and how same idea. Just you won't need a car because it's 10 times cheaper to use a ride hailing service than owning a car, even an electric car.
100%. It's basically bringing the sub to your house, right? It's creating bringing the train right to your house.
Yeah.
And the train definitely revolutionizes things, but the train only goes so far. And
Right.
like you can travel the whole country via train. Like it's possible. In fact, Dorina has challenged me. She's like, we should go do it. So like we may do that, but you can't bring your car with you. And you don't want to anyway. You want the freedom of, hey,
Right.
Uber, pick me up.
Yeah, because I'm looking out my backyard of my office right
Is
now.
that what you're doing, Mike? Because I always wonder when you start doing this.
Yeah, so here, I'll show you what I'm looking at. You see the
We can
window?
never see. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Okay, so that's the window I look out of. Sorry, my hand's kind of.
Yeah.
But you see my car, and you can't
Yeah.
really see it from there, but there's 4 other cars.
I see your dumpster, your car and your
Yeah,
dumpster and the trees.
There's 4 other cars.
Yep.
And they just sit there all day because we all come to work and then we park.
Super
If you
inefficient.
had a robo-taxi that was cheaper, 10 times cheaper to drive to work,
Yeah.
For any one of my paralegals or for me,
Yep.
get here, and then the car drops you off, and then it goes away and takes care of other people around here driving around. And then when you want to leave, you call it, and then you don't even need garages either.
The
You don't need
cars
any of
never
that
sit
crap.
still. Exactly. The cars are never sitting still.
I don't know if you can put this in, Gualter, but that if I send you that video, can we put it in the link? The one, that guy talking to the Robinhood investors, the 30-minute one about.
If you drop it on Facebook, just drop it in the Facebook link. This way, everybody has access to it there.
I'll have to find it again because.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, drop it in there and then just text me. I'll update the name of the post. I'll create the new comment.
I don't want to do it while we're talking, but I'll find it afterwards and drop it in there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's eye-opening because you're even thinking, well, wait a sec, what happens to Tesla?
Nope.
But Tesla would be the ones with the fleet services.
This is the thing. It's like when Andrew Carnegie was taking over steel, right? He was taking over steel, and not JP Morgan. Yeah, JP Morgan comes in and buys them, and John D. Rockefeller's out there, doing his piece with like these 3 champions, right? You got these big money makers, and Edison's electricity is threatening to take out the kerosene business that JD Rockefeller's built.
That's cool.
And JD Rockefeller's, hey, how do I utilize this byproduct gasoline from the production of my kerosene? And the element, like, it starts stacking up, and that's where Henry Ford came in and started building, car engines.
Right.
And instead of being so worried about light, now they're worried about transportation, getting rid of the railroad. Now they're going to transportation and vehicles.
Getting rid of the horses and all the horse shit.
And what happens is Carnegie steel is used to make those vehicles.
Nice.
JP Morgan, his investment in steel, the railroads, and his other investment in infrastructure and electricity ends up being utilized by everybody else, even though he doesn't own anything anymore. He just has shares in it. Yeah. And Henry Ford is utilizing gasoline from JD Rockefeller. So regardless.
So as a recommendation, if people want to, one of our foundational 5, Think and Grow Rich, talks about a lot of this stuff, and it's also inspiring. So good place to start if you want to learn about Carnegie and all that stuff with the steel industry.
It's a fascinating book. Probably one of the most difficult to get through the foundational 5, but probably one of the most full. Has a lot of information in there. And
put it in the comment.
Awesome. And so at the end of it, they start these big empires, and then you'd think, okay, they're going to get wiped out by all this new technology, but they didn't. They just shifted. They just shifted over what they were invested in. And even at one point, JD Rockefeller goes and buys a mine, right? Buys an iron mine to supply Andrew Carnegie.
Awesome.
So he's like, look, this guy's using iron left and right. I'm going to go buy some mines and send it over his way. And it wasn't always friendly, but the idea is if they had been more friendly, they would have made more money, even though they already made a killing.
Right.
It all got separated and cut down, but the money doesn't disappear. The concept of moving everybody forward was what made them so wealthy. They were attached to the idea of giving everybody light, giving everybody transportation, giving everybody access to new things. And that joined them in, collecting money, because they really did a great job. And I think Elon he's so intertwined with the motion of the universe that he doesn't have a choice not to make a ton of money. It's like Bill Gates or Warren Buffett or Mark Zuckerberg. These guys are so intertwined with what the universe is calling for that they can't help but make money.
Yeah, like four of the five of his companies have to do with global, like SpaceX with the internet that's going to cover the whole world. Starlink, he's been putting up the satellites as like a web around the whole world. So now you're helping the whole world. You talk about helping Fall River, and you're doing that, but just think about it. He's got the whole world.
100%.
I don't know what if you got a penny from everybody in the
8 billion pennies does okay. My coach said this to me a long time ago, Paul Fink. He said it. He's like, Gualter, you're thinking too small. He's like, you got to get out of your city, right? If you're just thinking about helping Fall River, he's like, yeah, bring your money back there. That's fine. But you can't just collect your money in Fall River. If you do, like, you're going to run out of people. You're going to run out of service you can provide. Right. And you're better off specializing and going big, going national, going international, than staying in one city and thinking, okay, like, this is where my client base is going to be. And that's why we're moving to Tampa to expand and
for the
winter. And then I'll be back. And we're already planning Arizona for next year. Like, we're just thinking different locations that fit the long-term goals of the company. And some of that is, by the way, Mike, I would love to create housing that costs nothing once you own it, other than you can't get rid of taxes, can't get rid of freaking Uncle Sam. That's not an option. But
Samantha, my daughter, who she's obsessed with these things called life ships. They're in New Mexico.
Yeah.
You have a computer up, type in
life ship.
And they're in New Mexico. It might be Earth ship. Let me look.
All right. So Samantha, Earth Ship Global. We are number one eco construction and self-sufficient living company at our Earth Ship nightly rentals at our headquarters in Taos, New Mexico.
Oh yeah, some great skiing in Taos, by the way.
In Mexico?
New Mexico.
New Mexico, really?
It's opposite. I think it's their ski season is in the fall. And I have friends who've been there. It's supposed to be amazing. So there are skiers who are so obsessed with skiing that they travel the world and ski the different seasons. So in other words, you can't ski in the Northeast in October, but you can ski in Taos, that type of thing. It's cool.
So an Earth ship essentially is a self-sustaining building.
Yeah, it's like weird though. There's one.
I love these designs. So this is exactly
cool.
what
They're like buried in the. I'll just take this Earthship Global and I'll put it into our book.
Earthship Biotecture. Man, this is cool.
That's why Sam loves it so much, because it's self-sufficient, and it's and they're like basically buried in the sand in the desert so that they don't use as much energy. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's 100% the design I was working on last night. Swear to God,
so awesome. So I don't know if they have them in Arizona, but Arizona's right next to New Mexico, so you could check it out, and maybe next year, instead of a 4-bed in Tampa, you'll be in an Earth ship in Arizona. How cool is that?
So I have always been fascinated with the idea of living underground, digging under. So it's always been one of my fascinations. So.
I remember that because you're a real estate person.
Yeah.
So if you could make real estate, this is you. I'm repeating back to you what you said to me, but you could make real estate in the desert. You could get it for pennies on the dollar because nobody wants to be in the freaking desert.
Nobody wants to be there.
So brilliant. So I had a friend who lived out in South Dakota, and he had like a 12 square mile ranch. And when you go out there and you see this place, you realize how big our country is and how there are huge swaths of land that have nothing on them.
I've been looking on land search or land watch, and like I look at the money we spend here dude, if I put a quarter, not even a quarter, like 1/10 of what I put into real estate here out into the Midwest, like you could buy so much land.
Right?
And with the new economy where you don't need to work, you don't need to physically go somewhere. The future really is, how can you live on so much less because you're just not making more? There's just not, we can't be so wasteful. We have to, get back to loving life and experiencing life for what it is, and not being so focused on money, because we can have anything if we're sharing, right? And that's the whole concept of
if you could take this,
cars.
is kind of cool. It's kind of cool we're talking today, because this is the type of thing that happens when people network. Your network is your net worth. Because we're just talking about this, and I happen to mention that Samantha likes this Earthship, and so
fascinating.
And then so Gualter does some research on it. Says, well, wait a second, we can take this Earthship concept and put it somewhere else besides New Mexico. We could put this in the desert. You were out in Vegas. There's plenty of desert around. It's crazy 100%. When you fly into Vegas, right?
Nothing.
There's nothing.
Something.
It's so awesome.
Lights.
Yeah. And you're like, what the hell is that way out there? Oh my God, that's the Strip. That is crazy.
And then when you get over it, it's just a grid of lights. Just big.
I mean, I know Vegas has become more developed now, but I'm sure you could get out in the desert and that.
Very easily. Yeah, 1 mile out.
California, just between Palm Springs and like everywhere else, there's just a ton of desert out there.
Yeah. In that concept that I was having last night and talking about the fact that your daughter's doing the same thing, talking about it, thinking about it, I already commercialized it in my head. I was already like, all right, this is, 100-unit building, but built this way, 100-building complex. And the premise would be, it'd have to be HOA condoized, right? So you could buy it and literally only have to pay taxes because it's self-sustaining. And, the HOA would cover repairs of this technology because there's a lot of technology involved.
Yeah. And then you have like a vegan McDonald's on one end and a vegan Chipotle on the other end.
You look at all the waste, right? We're so wasteful in society. All that waste can go be utilized for composting for the garden, right? Somebody can be out there tilling gardens and running it, paid for by the HOA.
Amarilloville.
I'm with it, Mike. We'll put it in Amarillo, Texas, and
Amarilloville.
But the principle. Awesome. And it would not be for everybody. It'd just be for the people who want to cut off the grid for a little while.
Yeah.
And, like Set for Life talks about being able to get a longer runway by decreasing your expenses, get off the grid for a little while, do some personal development, like read the books, take the training courses. Maybe it's just a year where you live out there.
Yeah. And if you could make like a community where people are going out there, like Airbnb concept, but people are going out there to train to get off the grid, do their things, and then and then getting their Tesla plane that just takes off and takes them back to LA.
And then they're back in the city, and they could build their expenses back up and go into it. But it's a lot of, the concept is so much fun, Mike, right? I could see myself doing this and be like, oh my God, like I'm also an I. So surrounded people all the time where they're all growing, and it's like, oh, look at the progress.
you give it to Ron, and Ron's like, no. This is not possible.
No, this is not his thing. Not even close.
You forgot these 10 reasons.
What's important is Dorina is on board. So
nice job.
I told her this. She's like, it's a party every day. And ultimately, Mike, it's like Shark Tank, right? We're building all these entrepreneurs. They got all these ideas, and we're like, I could invest in that one. Yes, I'm interested there.
Exactly. I think I mentioned that my father, when he first developed Richmond Square in Providence, he had the whole agreement with people that he would invest in some of their products. And after a while, it wasn't necessary; it just became rentals because there wasn't a need to do it that way. But I just always thought that was cool to have an incubator space. If someone comes out to the Arizona desert and then thinks of like a product, and then we all sit there and rip it apart and improve it, and then get to go out there, and it's focused. It's focused, right?
Yeah, you figure we spend a month out there, and we're just, all the entrepreneurs are working all year round, and we come back and we're like, okay, Shark Tank.
$500,000 mastermind where you pay $500,000 to be with us for a month,
And here's the deal: most of that money gets reinvested in a product, right?
Exactly.
You have to reinvest in one of these entrepreneurs, otherwise your money's lost, right? I
Or
love it.
$1,000 to start.
It's the most expensive vacation we'll take all year, but it could be the best return on investment.
Hashtag worth it.
Hashtag
Imagine you could have like, I don't know, it would just be neat, all the things that you could attach to Earthship, you know?
Right.
Like just I don't know, like pools and hot tubs and
Everything, man. Everything. You know, meditation areas
yeah,
and you know, like places to really get to know yourself. You can have
like the gardens too.
theater, gardens.
Gardens, yeah.
What I like about Earthship is I'm looking at it, doesn't take up any of the ground. It doesn't take up any of the land. It's underground, right? You're
Underground.
utilizing the incubation, like the actual insulation of the dirt, because look, these deserts are uninhabitable for a reason, right? They're unhospitable. But if you go underground, you get away from the biggest killer, which is the sun.
We'll call it like Death Valley resorts.
Yo, Death Valley is no joke.
Yeah. So you could have people who are into the gardens do all the gardens there, and it's self-sustaining. So you've got all the food, and it just would be amazing.
And Mike, I've always said the biggest problem for me in development is it's 2 years before you're turning any money in, and it's 4 or 5 years before you get your money back or your initial capital back. Right. So it's, to me, like these big developments are a scary prospect. Like I like my money now, but when you look at something like this, I'll be gold mining up front, so collect some of that cash, dig the hole, lay it all out. Yeah, like fun projects. So
you ever see in some of your real estate deals, I've got a couple where people have geothermal heating systems.
It's primarily used in Portugal. We live off of geothermal in Portugal.
In where?
In Portugal, in the Azores, not the island, mainland islands. Gotcha. Geothermal is used because it's all volcanic.
Because I have a friend of mine who has a house right here in Rehoboth, Mass. that says geothermal. And
really?
When they built the house, they insisted on it. Like they said, we don't want your regular heating system. And then there was they got like some credit, like $20,000 from the builder. And then they took that 20 and they had a geothermal company come, because the earth is 50 degrees. So underground, so all you need to do is raise that 20 degrees, which is a lot less expensive than, heating in a freezing cold basement to get it up from 20 degrees in the winter. So yeah, it's cool. I actually have 2 houses. I did a closing yesterday. He has geothermal on his other house, and I have another closing coming up on Friday where the guy's getting geothermal because he was asking a bunch of questions about it. It's so cool.
Nice.
Yeah, but I was thinking like if you did geothermal heating with the desert, same thing. When you go down a level, you should be able to pull, and it's just a matter of the electric to pull it up to that. To 70 degrees.
It's funny you say it because I wrote down geothermal and I was like, I don't know if it's viable, but I wrote it down anyway as a potential solution.
You are a creator. You're just manifesting left and right.
Like, I love this. No, I was having fun last night. It was just a fun project. And, if we're going to do something big 3-5 years from now, I want to make sure it's in line with the universe, in line with what people need. And I do believe that we need to get back to basics, and just, even if it's a temporary stay, but more affordable housing has to grow. There has to be more people saying, what, I don't need all this space. I want life. I want quality of life, and all of this extra stuff is taking away from it. So
so cool.
Phenomenal, man.
So cool.
That's why we hang out.
I still like going to the moon and to Mars, but it seems a little bit easier to start in the desert.
Well, that's the point. Is if we can do it in the desert, it's 100% what we're going to be doing in Mars. Right. It's far more efficient. Ron and I were having this conversation the other day. It's far more efficient to bore into the planet and build housing within, instead of trying to, defend and protect ourselves from all the craziness of Mars.
Yeah.
Just go inside and allow the planet to protect you.
Yeah. It's brilliant. Brilliant. I love it.
And Mars is full of craters, and if you watch that series Mars, which you will love, because they go back and forth with Elon Musk, and then they go into the future with the actors. The actors are in the future, and then it's like all real stuff in the present time. That's
so cool.
So fascinating. And just like ignore episode 1, right? Ron was like, all this stuff happened that would never happen. Just ignore episode 1. Fine. Like
Well, what do we say in college? Willful suspension of disbelief. If
Willful suspension. Yeah.
you're gonna watch something, why are you? I don't know. Why are you judging it? Just let it go, okay?
Just let it go. Enjoy the show. Yeah. So Ron doesn't have that ability.
That one's called, what's it called? Just Mars, is it called?
It's called Mars. You can get it on, I believe it's on Netflix.
Cool.
And it's a great inspirational like series. It's two seasons, and you watch it and it's like, okay, like, yes, I could actually see us doing this. I could see all this technology. I could see us actually going to Mars, and this is how we do it. And it's not far off, Mike, even down to using the 3D printers. After watching the show, I went and I started Googling 3D printers, and we have that technology already. Like, we're actively using it. In fact, one of my buddies owns a 3D printer for his machine shop.
Cool.
So like, this technology is in use, it's realistic. And it's just a matter of plugging it all in, building the system, and Elon's doing it, right? Like, it's a great stock to own, although I do think it's in a bubble. I think the whole stock market's in a freaking bubble right now. The fact that Apple is such a huge contender, and FANG, like all of FANG plus T, right? I don't know how to make this one work, but it's FANG plus T now with Tesla.
Right.
But all these companies are in a massive bubble, way past their fundamentals. Will they eventually get to those prices? Absolutely. But they terrify me. I refuse to invest in them. But there's a lot of money being made. And if you watch the podcast I just did with Damian Lupo, he explains it. It's all this is 2004, 2005, right before the real estate market collapsed. It's an exciting time. Everybody's winning, everybody's putting money in, and it's really tough to see that we're on shaky ground. Now, fortunately, with the stock market, once it crashes, it comes back up. I think Tesla's a good win. I think that's a good bet to be on, because and this is, by the way, not financial advice in any way. This is just my personal opinion. I also like to buy gold and real estate, and I'll always own more real estate than any other asset, I believe. Who knows what the future holds, but that right now is the asset class I choose to expand in. And I do think it'll be the last thing that gets cut out. I think that real estate will be the last of the trades to end before robots and machines take over.
Nice.
Yeah, and that phase of robots and machines taking over is freaking cool to me, man. Like, I love it. I love the idea of,
I like it.
Like, we don't have to work anymore.
I'm looking at still
What do you
trying
got?
to find that one on the YouTube. I just put something in the link. Here it is. I found it finally. Give me 1 second. I'm just putting something in the chat.
Nice. So let me text Terry. I believe we're going to jump into a coaching session with T-Dog himself. T-Dog. Terry, Mr. Terry Wager. So I'm going to text him our chat information. So at home, if you're watching this and you want to learn more about how you can prepare for the upcoming challenges, you definitely want to get your mindset right. Join our mentorship, gualtermurillo.com/mentor, or if money is an issue, join our free trainings. Mike and I will continue to teach and train for as long as feasible for us. We both enjoy our lives and we enjoy our free time, but we do enjoy giving back. And we'll continue to do this for as long as it makes sense, recording everything so that you can move forward even after we've moved on to different projects. Every Saturday at 10 a.m. for now, we do the 52 weeks to wealth. This week is wealth principle 39, which is a powerful wealth principle. And most people will dismiss it because they don't understand how powerful it is. But the principle is how you do anything is how you do everything. We'll be talking about it. Mike has a book of the week, and that book will be coming up in the discussion. Right now, secret, but Saturday, gualtermurillo.com/live. Register so that you can be a part of this movement of growth, of earning more income, of having a better life, living on less and actually experiencing more life. Like, this whole mission of becoming millionaires is so that you can live better, right? Life and Air. Mike, have you read that book yet?
I did.
Life and Air, what'd you think?
So I think the concepts are really good. I think the writing is not great. So if you're looking for Hemingway, you're not going to get it. But I think it's, I've noticed that Brenda and I, we both read it, and after reading it in the weeks afterwards, we kept mentioning something that was made in there. But it really is about, you know, your life versus becoming part of this whole rat race. And it's a good way for people who have gotten into the whole consumer, buy a big McMansion and buy a big Ford F-150 and a couple of ATVs and all that crap. It's really an eye opener from that point of view. So I recommend reading it. It's tough to get through the writing of it, but that's okay. So yeah.
You know why I love our conversations, Mike? Like we've built wealth and we'll continue to build wealth because that's what we're good at. We enjoy investing people's assets, investing so that people have things, and wealth will continue to flow towards us. So when you and I speak, though, we're never talking about the toys we're buying. We're talking about the investments we're buying or the life experiences we're having. You know, your time with your daughters and your sons, right? The 5 kids that you have.
I don't think I maybe said it specifically, but for me, wealth is about freedom and traveling. It's not about fancy cars and we actually, Brenda and I don't even like buying anything. It's like,
I'll tell you, when I spend $1, I see it as $25, right? I see it, and that's just a few years from now. That's not like what it could be 10, 20 years from now.
Right.
I'm just looking at, man, this dollar could be $25. And if I spend $100, I'm literally losing $25,000. Like, it makes me sick. So
that's good. I mean, I do spend things for like things I enjoy. Like I think I mentioned, I love my mountain bike.
Yeah.
So if there's something like I bought a winter jacket for giving me more months out in the woods. And you know, I mean, we're talking like $30. I don't know, but I'm just saying that kind of things I'll spend money on. But and I also bought a light for the bike because it's getting darker earlier, and so you're out in the woods and suddenly it's pitch black and you got to get home. Yeah. So that type of thing I'll spend money on. And just like you with all your technology.
Those are investment. Yeah, like I'm looking at a whole bunch of computers right now and a bunch of monitors.
Yeah, exactly. That makes sense.
I'll spend a couple $100, thousands of dollars, but it's stuff that I enjoy. I get use out of it. And, you know, it's like my garden back in the day. Like what you said about getting an extra couple months, I enclosed my garden so I'd get an extra 4 months out of the year, right? I was only down for 2 months. December and January got me, but.
Samantha posted something on Facebook recently. There was a family in Sweden, and they have this like brick house, and they built a greenhouse over the whole house.
Yep.
So they get like warm weather all year, gardens and everything, and they get 12 months in Sweden.
I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I had the concept of just extending my backyard with a greenhouse like the one I built, just a larger version of it, so I can just walk out my deck and have summer all year round.
I love it. I love it.
Encompassing the house.
Samantha will be the point person on the building out in the desert. So.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have a conversation with Samantha and be like, look, you got some really good ideas here. We need to make this commercial and go a little bigger with it, but this is the direction we're going. I want you to design it. So yeah,
let's get her on the podcast.
Samantha is she's ready, and you will go vegan as well. So
yeah, right.
You will be educated and veganized. Yeah. I couldn't find her on Instagram the other day. I went to look for her and I couldn't find her. So
I don't know if she has Instagram. I know she's on Facebook as Samantha Marie.
I've seen that one. Yep.
But yeah, so if you have her, she will definitely turn vegan, which is awesome.
There are worse things.
Poached eggs and feta cheese are not vegan, just as a public service. If any,
in fact, none of that. All of that is animal products. So.
Well, I did see recently. I watched this YouTube thing called Live Kindly, and they have like a weekly vegan report. And there's these 2 women developed a vegan egg that looks exactly like an egg. Like it has the yolk and the white, and it cooks just like an egg. The whole 9 yards. Pretty cool.
Really?
Yeah. Look up Live Kindly on. Shows all the movie stars and the athletes are turning vegan, and you know they give you like weeks every time some new star turns vegan or opens like a vegan restaurant. Yeah, it's cool.
So in theory, if it looks like an egg and it cooks like an egg, then it is an egg.
It is an egg, although the egg industry will probably sue them or something like that.
We've got this copyright from the chickens that says that this is not a real egg. Terry Wager!
Gualter Amarillo! Michael Schein!
We're going to dive into a little coaching session, but I guess Terry's here. Terry, you want to talk a little bit about the training that is coming up, the sales training?
Yeah, we have not locked in on a date, I do not believe, but it's a sales training that's really helping people to move into more of a relationship sales mindset mastery, where they're really being able to focus on how to be of service rather than how to make a sale. And so it's really about learning how to be there for your customers, whether it's actually helping someone to sell their house to you, or it's helping a buyer to buy the house from you. It's learning how to actually be of service to your community in any way they can. One of the things that we're really focused on, you and I, Michael Schein, all of our group is really focused on that millionaire mindset, making millionaires. Our goal is to make 100 millionaires. And the first way we do it is by serving others. And so this is really about learning how to step away from the idea of sell, sell, sell to serve, serve, serve.
That's
Absolutely.
awesome.
Well said. Terry Wager, one of our coaches in the Alchemist Mentorship. If you haven't already signed up, you can sign up at gualteramarillo.com/mentor. If you don't know that this is the right program for you, that's cool. We do a lot of free training. Obviously, you can go to gualteramarillo.com/live and register for our Saturday event, or just go to gualteramarillo.com and look at the other 3 events that we run every single week. We're constantly adding events because it doesn't seem like we're giving enough. And so we're always looking to do more. The Mike Schein 100 Millionaires podcast, the Alchemist Nation podcast, there is working with investors, how to buy real estate and cash flow, and the Wholesale Mastermind is along with the 52 Weeks of Wealth. So we're constantly building trainings, constantly recording, putting them out into Alchemist University. If you want to be successful, you have no reason not to be, because we got the books, we got the trainings, everything is affordable, everything is available. It's up to you now. You're the only thing holding you back. What are you going to do about it? Anyway, Mike Schein, let's sign us off. How do you sign us off, brother? What's your phrase?
Going for massive income from passive income.
And we'll put some of those links in the chat below. Terry Wager, you got a phrase? You got something you want to throw out there for us?
Generator coaching. Making millionaires, millionaire makers.
I love it. When you have a choice, always work with the best. Cheers to your success.
Cheers to your success. Peace.
Yeah.
Peace. Live on Facebook.